Gotta explain that. What up with you and Ye, man? Are y'all okay, man?
The hip-hop scene can be a very competitive environment, which can lead to conflict. Oftentimes, when artists beef, it can lead to diss records for our entertainment, fights between crews, or even sometimes deadly encounters. The most ironic thing about these beefs is they usually stem from friendships gone wrong. In the past few weeks, drama between two of hip-hop's biggest superstars has surfaced once again. But this goes much deeper than anything that has happened of recent. To understand the beef between Kanye West and Drake, we need to go back to 2008, when idols became rivals.
For me, it's Kanye West. I gotta fuck shit up.
In 2008, Kanye West is one of the biggest hip-hop artists/producers in the world, and his influence just as large. To any rapper up and coming at the time, it's no secret he was somebody you probably wanted to be like, and Drake was one of them. Drake would remix songs by Kanye on his mixtapes Comeback Season and So Far Gone, very early in his career. When asked in interviews, he was always very open about drawing inspiration from him, and in 2009 he told MTV Kanye was the most influential person he had ever had in his life. As Drake's career began to really take off, it was only inevitable their paths would cross, and they eventually did. They would meet for the first time in Hawaii and had a brief conversation about working on Drake's debut album. You could say this was the start of their friendship, and over the coming months, they would be in more contact with each other. Kanye even attended some of his shows.
Yeah, normally it ain't a question. We would cross paths like an intersection, but she just too far away for affection.
After featuring on the song Digital Girl together, Kanye stepped forward offering to direct the music video to Drake's hit song Best I Ever Had. You could say their friendship was warming up. By the end of 2009, Drake was becoming more than just the rookie he was seen as before. His song Forever featured three of the biggest artists from that decade, which included Kanye West. He would lay down the chorus on the track and delivered his iconic
Last name ever, first name greatest, like a sprained ankle, boy.
Artists like Jay-Z saluted Drake for being able to keep up on a track with Lil Wayne, Kanye, and Eminem, validating that he too had the potential to become just as big.
He's proved that he's very talented, with that mixtape, which was phenomenal.
The two continued to collab as Drake's debut album approached. Kanye would write a song that he initially intended to give to Rihanna, but with Drake blowing up in the industry as somebody who could rap and sing, he felt Drake could pull it off even better, which says a lot about how Kanye felt about Drake. That song was Find Your Love, and as we know was one of the biggest songs of 2010. Although this wasn't the only song Kanye helped write on Drake's first album, it was the one that stood out and meant the most. To paint the picture, after this album came out, Drake was no longer the up-and-coming rapper he was just 2 years before. He was at the top of the food chain and showed no signs of slowing down, due to his wide range of styles that he was able to pull off. The potential that Drake was showcasing began to intimidate Kanye, and he stated this in numerous interviews.
I look at Drake as like an amazing sparring partner. Someone's like, come on man, get back up.
But initially it wasn't a negative thing. Kanye just stated it pushed him to step up his game, because it had been so long since someone like Drake had stepped on the scene and actually put that kind of pressure. But this didn't last very long, and the energy between the two did start to change. Drake was seen leaving a club with Kanye's ex-girlfriend Amber Rose in late 2010. You could argue this may have been the beginning of their competitive careers and the end of their friendship they once had. Kanye started to feel like Drake's ego was getting to him after blowing up. It's unclear if Drake started to give him the cold shoulder after this, or if it was just Kanye's insecurities making him feel this way. Regardless, tension between the two was building up by the end of 2010. Around this time, Drake and Lil Wayne had been teasing the idea of dropping a joint album together. Shortly after this, Kanye announced that he and Jay-Z would be doing the same thing for their project, Watch the Throne. This felt personal to Drake for whatever reason, because they still had some unreleased music together that was set to drop soon, despite the tension.
Some other guys are coming out with the album too. There's two other guys that are coming out with the album together. Two other rappers that are coming out with an album together. I don't know where they got that idea, but...
One of those unreleased songs was All the Lights, but Kanye ended up removing Drake's verse off the song when it dropped. It's possible this had nothing to do with their issues, as he is a known perfectionist and it's not that uncommon for an artist to do that. But the comparisons between Kanye and Drake was a big topic throughout 2011. When Drake was asked about this, he once again stated that Kanye was a huge inspiration to him, but he didn't want to be like Kanye. He wanted to surpass everything Kanye has ever done. In his song I'm On One with DJ Khaled that year, he makes it known that he feels like the throne was for the taking, and he was gonna take it. People obviously took this as a shot at Kanye and Jay-Z's Watch the Throne, but Drake quickly cleared the air about this on Twitter, but he left Kanye's name out. For almost 2 years, neither one really mentioned anything about the other, and for obvious reasons, they didn't really work on music together. In October of 2013 though, Drake brought Kanye out on stage at his OVO Fest, and they appeared to be on good terms once again. Magazines and news outlets who feed off negativity still tried to make it seem like there were issues between the two.
And Kanye, I can't talk about that. I ain't playing with my emotions, man. Kanye gonna piss me off, for real. That phone call you just had pissed me off. What? The fact that nigga wanted me to national attack, but he told me some whole other shit the other day about, oh, you can't have more beats from my album and something like that, 'cause that's what it is.
On my way to the boat like I ain't just got on.
An old video surfaced online where Drake talked about being upset that Kanye wouldn't give him beats anymore. The news outlets tried to make this seem like it was a negative light when in reality, he was just showing homage to how much he appreciated Kanye's production. They began discussing the idea of a joint album together titled Wolves, and even promoted the idea by word of mouth and billboards around different cities. By 2016, things really seemed like they were back to normal. Drake even helped write some songs for Kanye's album The Life of Pablo. On the outside, things seemed good between them. Kanye obviously felt otherwise deep down. As Kanye was touring for his album, he randomly decided to go on a rant before walking off the stage and only performing 3 songs.
Khaled and Drake and radio and Doc and 92.3 and everybody. Is it just me? Or did you hear that song so many times you seem to pay it for free?
During this rant, he mentioned that DJ Khaled and Drake's hit song For Free was being played on the radio too often, and that he felt like they were paying for exposure. Obviously, Drake felt blindsided by these comments because he felt like they were on good terms again. Some believe he may have been upset about the bar Drake put in his Summer 16 song about Kanye's pool, but it didn't seem like it was that deep, and Kanye may have overreacted. He was even seen shortly after tearing out his pool to build an entire lake in his backyard. It seemed the competitive nature between the two somehow always found a way to go too far. Much like in the past, the only thing that seemed to bring them closer again was having time away from each other. And for the next year or so, that's what they did, all the way until 2018, but history always repeats itself.
Niggas turned it back on me for no good reason.
By 2018, Kanye began reaching back out to Drake, but this time the two kept this private for the most part. But it's safe to say they spoke about their issues and were keeping in contact from a distance. Kanye was working on his upcoming project Ye in Wyoming, and he made it seem like he just wanted Drake to come out and work on music for Drake's album Scorpion. When Drake arrived in Wyoming, he quickly realized he was only invited to help work on Kanye's music, not his, and he recalls the vibe being off. Despite feeling this way, Kanye was adamant about portraying a genuine vibe, and began asking Drake questions about his personal life. This included his newborn son, that at the time, the world didn't know about. This conversation also included things like a promise to give Drake a beat that he really fucked with, and the dates of when he planned on dropping his album Scorpion. Artists typically like to keep these release dates private until they're set in stone, because of the competitive nature behind it. Dropping an album the same day or too close to another mainstream artist can come off as almost disrespectful. But it's obvious Kanye used this information he received for malicious use. Shortly after his trip to Wyoming, Drake announced Scorpion to be released in June. Just days later, Kanye would announce his release date as well for June 1st. As if that didn't seem like it was disrespect enough, Kanye then took the beat that he had promised Drake and released it as the song Lift Yourself, which if you listen to the lyrics was clearly just Kanye trolling Drake.
Whoopie scoop, scoop dee dee whoop, whoop dee scoop dee poop. They try to say Kanye West.
Realizing the on and off behavior patterns that Kanye had been giving off for years now, Drake decided to distance himself instead of rehashing their beef publicly again. That was until Kanye West's label mate Pusha T came for Drake in his song Infrared. The reason Kanye still ties into this side story as well though, is because he made the beat for that track. Drake and Pusha T actually had their own beef though from years before. Drake dissed Pusha T and Kid Cudi on his song Two Birds One Stone. As we know, Drake is not somebody to back down after being provoked in a diss song, so of course he responded with one of his own. Duppy Freestyle released shortly after, and it didn't disappoint when it came to clapping back at Pusha and Kanye, but he really wasn't prepared for what was coming. Pusha responded with the story of Adidon, which included some of the most disrespectful bars to ever surface on a diss record.
Did Pusha go too far by revealing the child and presenting that to the world?
Well, I'll say this. I tip my hat to the chess move. I mean, it was a genius play in the game of chess. And definitely, warranted my first quote unquote, loss in the competitive sport of rapping.
She's not here right now.
It was obvious to Drake that Kanye had used their conversation in Wyoming earlier that year against him by giving this information out like that to Pusha T. Drake recorded yet another response but decided not to release it, stating it wasn't what he wanted to be remembered by. According to the people close to Drake, the response he did record had information that would ruin Kanye West's career. Of course, almost immediately, people began spreading rumors about what Drake could possibly have on Kanye that would ruin his life. One of those rumors was the possibility of Drake sleeping with Kanye's wife, Kim Kardashian. Although these in fact were just rumors, people believed the lyrics from Sicko Mode and the chorus to In My Feelings, Kiki Do You Love Me, was referenced to Kim. After this, Drake was inside Kanye's head, making him question his marriage and not denying the rumors that he slept with his wife. Whereas Pusha T is also in Drake's head, stating that he got the information about his son from Drake's producer, who was pillow talking to a female, not Kanye. Some people believe that this may be another reason why Drake wouldn't come out and just admit to the rumors with Kim, because he himself is still not 100% sure if Kanye is actually the one who told Pusha about his kid. Drake continued to drop lines in his songs targeted at Kanye, but essentially they both seemed to agree that they would just remain enemies. In September of 2018, Kanye would tweet out an apology to Drake via multiple messages, saying he shouldn't have stepped on Drake's release dates, and he apologized for not giving him the Lift Yourself beat as well. But to Drake this looked like it could have been the same situation as what happened in Wyoming, so he didn't respond. This no response obviously got under Kanye's skin, because just another couple months down the road, he was back on Twitter with more messages for Drake. Despite the two not being on speaking terms, every once in a while they actually show love to each other in their own ways, like this Instagram caption from Drake. Fast forward to 2021 and both have dropped their albums, which inevitably presented the opportunity to rehash this beef all over again, like it does every 2 years or so. Drake took shots at Kanye on his feature with Trippie Redd, and Kanye responded by leaking Drake's address online. Although to some rehashing this beef may have seemed like it was a way to get easy promotion for both their albums, looking back, there's actually a lot more to this story. With that being said though, if there was ever the smallest chance that these two decided to genuinely make up and work on music again together, we may have a shot at a joint album that would break hip-hop history.
I'm not sure if I'm still sleeping from the morning. This is like I'm dreaming about how this is working out, but probably the most important moment in my life today, because at the end of the day, I do look up to Ye. He's a major influence, if not the biggest influence in my career.